everyone, and welcome back to the live stream guitar lessons. First one of the new year, so happy new year to you all. If you haven't been on the mailing list, haven't seen my email saying that, then obviously yeah, hope you had a good one. Prior to focusing on a couple of Christmas tunes, obviously in December, so prior to that we were working on GuitarQuest 4, and we got up to around about exercise 4. I think we started it, but we didn't really get that far with it, so that'll be our main focus today. So yeah, we will recap a couple of bits because obviously it has been a little while since we've had any lessons, so I want to kind of go over that. And so yeah, that's going to be our focus. So obviously we're on GuitarQuest 4 now, so if you're watching this and you want to take part, obviously what you need to do is make sure you're good with all the stuff up to the end of GuitarQuest 3 really. So all those lessons are online, so do check them out if you need to. But yeah, before we get started then, just a couple of things really. So if there's any children watching, then I'd suggest have an adult in the room just to help explain a few things. And what was the other thing? Oh yes, if you've got any devices that have any notifications that might ping away or whatever, then please do turn them off, and we'll have our half an hour of guitar time, really focusing on that. Oh, and the other thing is, if you want to add a comment, then or in the chat, just please do so. You just need to make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, I don't think it lets you add a comment. So let's check our tuning to begin with. So we'll start with our bottom E string. So you just want to adjust it to make sure it sounds like this. Okay, so hopefully it sounds like that. And then towards the end of GuitarQuest 3, we started talking about how to tune the guitar by ear. So we're just going to continue with that theme. So we know our bottom E is in tune, so we're now going to play the 5th fret on the 6th string. That's the note A. We're going to assume that's right. And so if your A string sounds different to that, then you need to adjust it until it sounds the same. So hopefully they should sound pretty much the same. So when you're confident with that, you then go to the 5th string at the 5th fret, that's the note D. So you play that, and your 4th string should sound the same. So again, if it doesn't, you adjust the 4th string because we know that the 5th string, 5th fret is correct, or at least we're confident it is. So we get those two right. Then we go to the 4th string at the 5th fret, this is the note G. So we're now checking the G string against that. So again, you'd adjust that 3rd string just up or down a little bit as you need until they sound the same. And when you're confident with that, this is the only one that's a little bit different. We're going to go to the 3rd string 4th fret, that's the note B. So that's the correct note, and we compare it to the open 2nd string. We go, okay, is it a bit different? So maybe we might need to adjust it a little bit. And then when we're confident with that, we would go to the 2nd string at the 5th fret. That's the note E, and we're going to adjust our 1st string so that it sounds the same as that 2nd string at the 5th fret. So hopefully that makes sense. I have been over that in more detail in the past, so do check that out on previous lessons if any of that doesn't make sense. But hopefully we've now got the strings in tune. So what we definitely want to do after that, if you've tuned by ear, you always want to strum a couple of chords. So whatever you like really, I would always try and include a 6th string chord in there somewhere, so i.e. where you've got to strum all the strings, like a G or an E, something like that. For example, if you just go with an A minor, you're not hitting the 6th string, so therefore you wouldn't necessarily know if you've quite got everything in balance. So any of those chords, and just try and listen as you go. Do any of them sound a little bit off? And then you might want to just go back and double check things. And sometimes you just adjust, you play the chord and think, oh, doesn't sound quite right, I'll just adjust it until it does, and then you go with that. So there's kind of, when you're tuning by ear, there's several factors that come into play really. But for now, let's assume we're in tune and we're all good. So just quickly, talk about posture. Just try not to let that guitar slide away from you too much. It's very common to do. It's, so you can see the strings, but it does make it a bit more difficult because you've got to bring your hand around a bit further, so try not to let that happen too much anyway. Okay, so we're going to continue on from there. So what we're going to do is recap all the notes we've learned so far. So we're going to have a look on page 2 of GuitarQuest 4. So we're just going to review the treble notes that we've learned. So we've gone from G here all the way up to that A there. That's I think that's pretty much as far as we've gone. So we're going to recap those, and then we'll do the bass notes in just a second. So on page 2, we've written it in 3/4 time. So I'm going to count to 3, and then we'll start, and we'll go from the low G there, or sorry, sort of the middle G, I suppose, up to the A at the 5th fret. Okay. So just recapping it. Here we go. After 3, so 1, 2, 3. So we've got G, then A, then B, then C, then D, then E, then F, then G, and then finally up to the A. And if you're unsure of any of those notes, then obviously go back and check out some of the older lessons, and that will explain that a little bit more. Okay, so let's have a go at the bass notes now. So we're going to start with our bottom E string here, and we're going to work up just the natural notes again, up to the note F, 4th string, 3rd fret. Again, it's written in 3/4, so let's give it a go. So after 3, so 1, 2, 3, and E, then F, then G, then A, then B, then C, then D, then E, and then finally F. Okay, so they're kind of the main sort of set of notes that we've learnt so far. And one of the other things we started diving into at the very end of GuitarQuest 3, but more important, or more specifically here really in GuitarQuest 4, is this idea of semiquavers. So we're going to have a quick go at that. We tried this exercise last couple of weeks when we weren't doing Christmas tunes. So what I'm going to do is play four crotchets, just on the E string. Then we're going to do 8 semiquavers, and then 16 semiquavers. Okay, so we're just going to try that through once, just on the E string, and we'll see how we go. So after 4, good luck everyone. So crotchets to begin with. Okay, so 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 quavers, semiquavers, and then we could repeat if we wanted to, but hopefully that just gives you the idea of you know, the difference in timing and or the speed anyway of how fast we're going to play them. So what we're going to do is the same thing again, but we're going to try it on the G string this time. So we come over to our 3rd string, and just exactly the same. Obviously we're in amongst the strings a little bit more, so as we increase the speed, our right hand fingers have to be perhaps just a little bit more careful that we don't kind of fly away, because then the chance of hitting a wrong string increases and that kind of thing. So if we can, we want to try and keep this movement quite concise. Okay, so that's not necessarily something that happens straight away, so just do your best with it really. So okay, so on the G then, same sort of thing again, after 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and crotchets, 2, 3, 4 quavers, and then semiquavers. Cool, okay, so hopefully that's got the fingers moving. It's making sense to what we're going to have to try and do as we work our way through. Obviously, if you've got any questions, do fire away. But failing that, we are going to just move on. So we'll turn the page, and we are going to have a go at exercise 3, which is called park bench. So this has a mixture of bass notes, some semiquavers where we're changing. So looking at the first bar, we've got, well, I should remind you as well, all our F's played sharp. So we've got E, F sharp, G, G. So in terms of semiquavers, it's going to be this kind of speed. Well, that's the sort of thing we're going to do. So in exercise 1, I think we kept all the semiquavers on the same note. Then in exercise 2, we started playing semiquavers using 2 different notes. and now in exercise 3 we're using 3 different notes in our bunch of 4 semiquavers. So that's sort of where the challenge has increased. So yeah, watch out for the F sharps, and we'll just give it a go. We've got a repeat, so we might as well play that. And again, if you find this tricky at all, we've covered this in the last couple of lessons for the GuitarQuest 4 series. So there'll be a little bit more detail if you find it challenging. But yeah, let's give it a go. So starting on the bottom E, after 4, remembering all our Fs are played sharp. We're going to do the repeat as well. So here we go. After 4. Okay, so 3, 4. To the second line. Second line again. And on to the last line. Ignore the repeat this time. And last bar. Okay, cool. So that was part bench number 3. As I say, we've covered that before, so that's just a bit of a refresher. So hopefully you're okay with that one. And so we're going to get on to number 4. So this is the one we got up to prior to Christmas, and I think we managed the first line or something along those lines. So we're going to dive into this one in a little bit more detail. So the first thing we need to try and pay attention to is, and I'm just going to bring the music up onto the screen for a second. So if we come on to this here, this first bar here, let's change that. So we only have these 3 notes here, so we're in 4/4 timing. So the question is, why have we only got 3 quavers, or yeah, 3 quavers, so 1.5 beats worth of music? And basically the answer is that that's perfectly fine to do that, and that's called a pickup bar or anacrusis bar, as you can see in the blue box underneath that where it explains it. And it's basically, when you're playing music, it doesn't always have to start on beat 1. So what we can have at the start of a piece of music is just this thing called a pickup bar, where you're counting in, but you just start a little bit before the next beat 1. Or basically on anything other than beat 1. So in this case we're going to go 1, 2, 3, B, C, B, and that just kind of fills the space there. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Now the other thing we have to look at with that particular bar is that it says it's in the 4th position and those notes are on the 3rd string. So we've covered this before, but B, rather than being the open 2nd string, we're now going to get 3rd string 4th fret, and the C we're going to get at the 5th fret, and then we come back to the 4th fret, and then as we go into the first full bar there, we're going to get the A on the 4th string at the 7th. So that first section, if I just play it to you, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, and that's, so, you know, a relatively straightforward series of notes, I think. If there's any aspect of it you find challenging, it's probably going to be that stretch over to the 7th fret on the 4th string. I would really try and encourage you to use your pinky finger rather than stretching over with the 3rd finger. Depending on your school of thought, it's not necessarily wrong to do that. It's just that what we don't want to do is neglect the pinky finger, because otherwise the other 3 fingers become quite strong and you get a lot of coordination and dexterity and all that kind of stuff, and the pinky finger gets left behind. So we want to try and include that wherever we can. Okay, so we've got our first few notes, and that note lasts for basically 2.5 beats. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go A, G, A. So we stay on the A at the 7th fret, and we come down to the 5th fret for the G. So again, hopefully you sort of know. Well, in GuitarQuest 3 we certainly covered the G there anyway. So I think the A is a new note. Well, a new way of playing the same note as that. So yeah, just a couple of new ideas creeping in. So that first full bar, then you've got the A, 2, 3, and then we're going to go to the note C. And the thing to watch out for here is that we're moving to the 5th position. So whereas our first finger was lining up at the 4th fret, we're now going to move it up to the 5th fret, because it's going to make more sense for the next series of notes that we're about to play. And so that is like what you might describe as a positional shift. So we were in the 4th position, which is where our first finger was lining up at the 4th fret, and then we've changed in that second full bar there, and we move up to the 5th position, and our first finger is now lining up at the 5th fret. So if I go from the beginning and just demonstrate that bit, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. That's our change, and then the E. And what I did on the A there was flatten my finger down to get the E. So you could move the first finger over. You'll get a little break in the continuity of the sound, which isn't always what you want. So you could just flatten the finger down. Again, I mentioned this in the last lesson. So that's called barring, where you flatten your first finger across more than one string. So in this case, across the 2 strings. It will naturally cover the first string as well. So don't worry about that. We're not going to play that string, but your finger is almost certainly going to push on down onto it. So yeah, that second full bar then. We bar our first finger across the 2 strings. So we've got the C at 3rd string 5th, then we go to E 2nd string 5th, and then we can reach up with our pinky finger to the 8th fret to get the G, and then back again. Okay, so that bar would be like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and okay. And then as we come on to the next line, we've got the F, which is 2nd string 6th fret. So again, hopefully you remember this from GuitarQuest 3, but if not, just do go back over and check that out. It was towards the end of the lesson series there. So we've got F at the 6th fret on the 2nd string, down to the E a couple of times. So F, F, E, F, E. And then the next bar there, we're going to go D, F. So the D, we're getting 3rd string 7th fret. So just to recap that bar, so it's D, F, so just working on those few notes there. And then in the next bar we come back to the E, 2nd string 5th fret, and down to the C. You could bar it there if you wanted to again. So that's the next 2 bars in fact. You could bar it, or you could just move that finger across, but notice at the end of bar 5 we're going from the C to the E again, so probably at that point you'd want to be barring. So it's just a question, and it's up to you, personal taste, whether you want to bar all of bar 5 or just the end of it. So bars 5 and 6, if you're barring, would look like this. Okay, and then we're off again. If you weren't barring, it would look like this. So you'd just be on the 2nd string 5th fret to begin with. Move over, then flatten the finger down. Sorry, my timing drifted a bit while I was talking there. Let me just demonstrate that again. Okay, so you'd be there, and then you move across, and then you flatten down. So either option's fine, whatever works for you. So then as we come on to the final line, so the last note, the second line was the C there. Then notice we've got Roman numerals above bar 7 at the start of the last line. So that's telling us it's Roman numerals 4, so we're moving back to position 4. So our first finger now moves down to the 4th fret. So we're going. So we come down to there, then we've got a D, which is the 7th fret on the 3rd string, so you just got to reach that pinky finger up, back to the B, and then we've got the A and the G again, and then same kind of ideas, and then the last 3 notes of bar 8 there, the same as our pickup bar at the beginning. So, and then we'd come back to the start. So, at which point obviously we're repeating, so we'll try this all through in a second, but let's just have a look at the final 2 bars after the repeat section. So we'd be on the B, 3rd string 4th, then we reach up to the 7th, play the B a couple of times, and then we've got G, G sharp, A. So G, 4th string 5th, G sharp, we go up 1 fret. Remember, sharp is always just 1 fret higher than whatever note you would typically think it would be at, or whatever fret I should say, and then A at the 7th fret to finish off with. So let's have a go. We'll play it through. I'll demonstrate it. If you want to try and play along, you're very welcome to. I'll try and shout out some of the changes as we go through, and then we'll put the track on. You can have a listen and see what you think. So remember, we're starting on the B, 3rd string 4th fret, and we're on the and after 3. Okay, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, and then we come in. Okay, and we'll include the repeats. So good luck, everyone. Here we go. After 4, well, after 3 this time, in fact. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. Change position. 6th fret for the F. Probably bar here. Drop a fret with the 1st finger. Doing our repeats. Positional shift there. 2nd line. Positional shift. And that was our 2nd time by art there, just to sort of finish it off. Hopefully that all made sense. I have a feeling on the repeat I might have hit a wrong note at some point, so do let me know if you're watching it back and you're like, something sounds a bit off there. I'll play it again if needed, but let's have a listen to the track and see how you go, see whether you like it. So I'll bring the music up on the screen so you can watch along as well. So if you bear with me just a second, I just want to sort the mouse out so we can see it better. Okay, right. So we've got the music up on the screen. Here we go. Okay, cool. So that was exercise 4, all heart. Lots of positional shifts going on. I just seen a comment coming through. Tricky tune, you have to work on it next time. So yeah, or after the class anyway. So yeah, good luck with it. Do we play the second line on the 5th string? So that's an interesting question. Now, I suspect what you mean is, do you play the second line on the 2nd string? So what we have to remember is that the guitar can feel very upside down at times. So string 1 is this one closest to the floor, and string 6 is the one closest to the ceiling. And this is a really common question that I get in lessons, or not question, like I'll say play string 5 and people play string 2 or vice versa. So so yeah, when we come on to the second line, we're playing the F and the E, for example, in bar 3, we're going on the 2nd string at the 6th fret and the 2nd string at the 5th fret. So yeah, all those notes are predominantly on strings 2 and 3. So hopefully that answers that. But do let me know if that's not clear at all. So okay. So let's have a look at the bit beneath that, which is the F and the F major 7 chord. So we'll start with F major 7. It's got a more complicated title, but it's actually easier to play. So what we're going to do is put our first finger on the 2nd string at the 1st fret, our middle finger on the 3rd string 2nd, and our 3rd finger on the 4th string 3rd fret. And then we strum from the 4th string, so ignore strings 6 and 5, because they'll add extra notes we don't really want. And we strum, and we get that kind of sound. Okay, so that's the F major 7. Usually that's a chord that I think people find okay. Obviously, if you don't, the usual problem is going to be this 3rd finger kind of collapsing down a little bit. So just really trying to keep up on the fingertips, and that should help that. So hopefully you're okay with that. If you're not going to like F. So, but we've got to try it anyway. So what we do is we take this chord, and then, like we talked about with barring in the previous exercise, we're going to flatten this first finger down so it pushes across strings 1 and 2, so kind of like that. And then these other fingers are pushing down in the same place, so 3rd string 2nd and 4th string 3rd. You don't want to do this. You might be tempted to do it. Again, it's a question that I get asked every now and again, and you know, in theory you could, but it's actually quite fiddly to make that shape, and it's also you just don't want to do it because you want to get used to this F shape. It's a really common chord, so you need to get used to it, and so don't try and find any workarounds or any cheats. Just sit there, be patient, persevere, and you will get it. When you go for the full F, the bigger problem you get is you flatten this finger down, and these kind of want to come with it. So it's trying to push fingers 2 and 3 up, and push finger 1 down, and that can be a challenge. So just good luck with it. Just try and persevere. If you find it really hard, you can slightly slant the finger a little bit, so the fingernail is almost pointing towards the nut of the guitar, and then that can sometimes help get the sound out. And then hopefully, as you get more comfortable with it, that first finger will just start to go a little bit sort of just a little bit straighter and a little bit more flush, just straight down kind of thing. So that's our F and our F major 7. Now we're nearly out of time, so we probably won't start exercise 5, but we'll just have a little think about it. So if we turn the page, if you remember back in GuitarQuest 3, we talked about the world's most common strumming pattern, which is this down, down, up, up, down, that kind of rhythm. So worth revisiting that if you can't remember it, because we're going to be using a variation on that. So the chords, and again perhaps something just to kind of think about over the week, and we'll dive into this properly next time, but we're going to be practicing A minor, F, C and G. All these chords, obviously F is new, the other chords we played before, and they're at the back of the book as well, so if you're unsure, check that out. But yeah, what we're going to do is take that really common strumming pattern, we're going to add an extra upstroke at the end just to fill the space out a little bit more. It'll still sound pretty much the same, it just kind of adds even more energy. So we do that pattern in the first bar, and then as we go into the next bar we change it. So this is how it's going to sound, but we'll go into this next week. So just a quick demonstration. So starting on the A minor. Okay, so that's what we'll be starting to work on next week. So yeah, refresh those chords. Hopefully then when we come to it, it will be okay. And that is a good place for us to finish up for today. So things to think about for next time. So we'll probably continue our warm up with that sort of crotchet, quaver, semi-quaver kind of challenge. So we'll do that at the beginning. We'll probably play part bench, exercise 3, as a bit of a warm up as well. We'll go back over exercise 4 in less detail obviously than we have today, and then we'll get stuck into exercise 5 next time with those chords, and hopefully maybe exercise 6, you know, we'll try and push on a little bit as well. So yeah, that's a good place to finish up. So hopefully you enjoyed the lesson. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, we'll leave it there. So our next one is just same time next week, so next Thursday, which is 16th of January. If you know anybody that you think would benefit from these lessons, then please do share away. And yeah, I will look forward to seeing you all next week. So best luck with the practice. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. All right, take care then, everybody. Bye bye.